Cheers to the weekend! Yes! Okay. Bottoms up.
So what are we going to do tonight?
So we have three options. It's Mulligan's or Izzy's or Recess.
I say Recess.
Recess. It's closer.
Oh, you guys ready? Recess.
You ready to go? You want to go?
Alright, let's go. Fucking go. Wait, should we finish the rest of the drink?
Yeah, we'll get drinks there.
Alright, fuck it. Let's go. Let's
Come
go.
on, let's go. Oh my god, y'all, recess is so much fun tonight. Did y'all have fun?
It was a great time.
It was so much fun, y'all.
We should totally.
Hey, did you win that karaoke contest?
No,
Dance contest.
The dance contest. I won the dance contest.
You fucking
Don't drop that da-da-da. Don't drop that da-da-da.
You got it.
It was so much fun. I had a blast, you know. It was just fun. Did you have fun?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I had fun.
Oh, the drink's still there.
Hey, wait, where's my
Good.
What
Hey,
time
I'm gonna go to bed.
You're gonna go to
Hey,
bed?
I'm gonna go to
You have
bed.
work tomorrow.
I do.
Oh,
I'm gonna go to bed.
Alright, girl, I love you.
Yeah, I'm not going to take off too.
You're gonna take off?
Yeah.
Is it too?
Yeah, I should.
Alright, well, good night.
Oh,
Yeah.
How does Steven love you?
You just be careful though.
Be careful.
Bye.
Okay, but have a safe walk. So much fucking fun.
Oh my-
So needed this.
I know, you know what? We need to end this night in a bang.
We do.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
I
play a joke on Chapa.
do it.
Let's put a fake rat in her bed.
I mean, we don't have a rat, though.
Okay,
I'm not about
that's
that.
right. We don't have a rat. What are we gonna do?
But her keys are right there.
Let's go
Let's
put
go
them in
put
Steven's
Steven's
mailbox.
mailbox.
Let's go. It's gonna be so much fun. Oh my god, she's not even gonna
She's
know.
she's gonna be so pissed.
She's not even gonna know what hit her. She's not even gonna know what hit her. We're just gonna hide these.
Okay, right here.
Okay.
Everything's good.
Okay. Now let's go. Gotta go back.
What time is it? What time is it? I have to go to work. Shit, where are my keys? Christina.
Huh?
Have you seen my keys?
What?
Have you seen my keys?
Your car keys?
I cannot find them. I cannot find them everywhere. I've looked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Are you still drunk?
I think.
Shit. And I have to go places. But I guess not. The only thing I can do is sit on right here because I don't have anywhere to go. I'm trying to watch Shark Week. Hey, I lost my car keys. The least you could do is respect me.
Use the rather less exciting sounding name. And check out the stomach.
Are those my keys?
They've
Open this up.
bones of horses, an entire reindeer, antlers and all, and even a folder.
My keys in Steven's mailbox. They've been across the street this whole time, and I've been sitting on this couch.
Oh, hey, Steven. Come on in. Oh my god, are those your keys?
Yes, those are my keys. Who put them there?
Oh my gosh, Melissa.
Oh my god. What do you know that you put them there?
Papa, please don't get mad. Honestly,
We wanted to have a little fun.
yeah, we just
opined in these last 4 days?
Yes. Dude, honestly, I'm so
That's really
sorry.
messed up, guys.
Oh my god, I
I
feel
can't
like
believe you did that.
total
And
crap.
now you didn't tell her.
Dude, honestly, if I knew, I would
I
have
just
told
drank
you
too
guys
much,
then.
and you know how I get. It just.
If it was a whiskey night, you know how those nights go? Dude, I'm so sorry. I mean, I get it. It's just like, hey, come on, keys, phone, wallet, you don't really mess with.
You don't go
But
there, guys.
honestly, in the end, sucks to my friends. Whatever. It was a funny joke.
It's only funny for a little while until you couldn't find them.
Well, yeah, because you forgot about it. Oh, man.
That's
I'm sorry.
Moment.
Yeah, it's such a moment. Today we're going to talk about two types of theories. We're going to talk about the symbolic interaction theory of self, and then we're going to talk about the expectancy violation theory. For our first topic, we're going to go to the symbolic interaction theory, and the summary of this theory is the way you interpret certain people, things, and events will determine how you act towards a given situation. These connotations are created in the language people use when dealing with both interpersonal and intrapersonal settings. Language is the key factor that helps people develop how they perceive themselves and how to interact with others in the community. For this theory, we have three assumptions. The assumption one is the importance of human behavior. We act toward each other based on what we hear from other people. My example is when Melissa and Christina noticed me drinking a lot, so they knew that irresponsible behavior was on the way. The interaction we have with one another creates meaning of how we interpret each other. Example, Stephen not being able to believe that Christina and Melissa hid my keys. And then, going on to our assumption two, the importance of self-concept. Individuals develop self-concept through interaction with others. In this example, in the situation, my interaction with Stephen tells me that I probably lost my keys because I'm very forgetful. Well, his viewpoint on how he sees me affects me by making me think I lost my keys. The self-concept provides an important motive for behavior. Example, I believe Stephen because I see myself as a person who always loses personal belongings. Now, our third key concept is society. Even though society is already established as individuals, we shape it by our unique way of living. And then, for our particular others, those who are significant to teach us about social acceptability. Example, my group of friends vibe off of each other to see what is socially acceptable. And as far as generalized others, attitudes of community teach us about social acceptability. And for my example, with bars all around Corpus Christi, the community taught us that as long as you're 21, you're okay, it's acceptable to drink in this town. Now moving on to our third assumption, the relationship between individuals and society. People and groups are influenced by cultural and social processes. Example, drinking is socially acceptable in society. As a group of friends, we want to go out and drink because of the fun connotations linked to it. Social constructors brought us all together as friends throughout our social interactions among each other. And for our key concepts of this theory, our first one is mind. This is the way we correlate symbols with common social meanings. Language/interaction with others help us create our inner mind. This enables us to create and reflect the social world outside of us. Example, perspective taking. Whenever someone is looking at themselves from another perspective, Stephen puts himself in my shoes because I did not have a ride for several days by getting angry at Christine and Melissa. The key concept, self, how we think others see us. Imagine how we look to others. Judgments they have on us. Our pride affects these self-feelings. Example, from prank I learned that maybe I'm not as responsible as perceived. And then now, our third key concept is society. Even though society is already established as individuals, we shape it by our unique way of living. And then, for our particular others, those who are significant to teach us about social acceptability. Example, my group of friends vibe off of each other to see what is socially acceptable. And as far as generalized others, attitudes of community teach us about social acceptability. And for my example, with bars all around Corpus Christi, the community taught us that as long as you're 21, you're okay, it's acceptable to drink in this town. Now for our expectancy violation theory, in this theory we watch nonverbal behavior and have certain expectancies of others. The way we interpret an expectancy violation determines how we favor the violators. For my example, I'm still going to be friends with Christina and Melissa. No matter, even though they upset me, with the way that I think of them is in a positive light, so they're going to end up being rewarded in the end. For my assumption 1, expectancies drive human interaction. Expectations of how humans should interact with different situations, we look at how they behave verbally and non-verbally. And for my example, the assumption from Christina, Melissa, and Steven that I would freak out about losing my keys was correct. And then moving on to the pre-interactional expectations, that is the knowledge a person brings to an interaction. And my example would be Steven sending the photo of the mailbox via text message. And then for the interactional expectations, that is the ability to carry out an interaction. And an example of that would be my excitement to find the keys via text message. And for my assumption 2, the expectancies for human behavior are learned. And my example for that would be Christina and Melissa knew I would not be mad because of our friendship in the past. Now for our key concept, which is territoriality, that's ownership of an area or an object. There are primary, secondary, and public territories. My keys would be my primary territory because it's my personal object. And I did not use staking in this because my friends ended up taking my keys. Staking out territory consists of markers, labels, offense, and tenures. And markers are marking our spots, labels identify symbols, offensive displays mean looks or behaviors, and tenure it would be an example of me claiming a spot in the classroom. And then for our key concept, we're going to go to arousal, threat, threshold, balance. Arousal occurs when one's interest increases. An example would be Christina giving the idea to Melissa to steal my keys. We determine our threat, tolerance, or reward or punish threats. Melissa and Christina by going along with the prank. Then evaluate situation in terms of violation balance, either positive or negatively. Melissa and Christina positive assessed by taking keys and didn't intend to forget. When people deviate from expectations, how it's received depends on communication, reward, balance. Depending on how negatively the characteristics depends on the punishment, and vice versa. On how positive, it would also depend on the reward. An example would be for a negative response would be Steven getting upset at Christine and Melissa for taking the keys. Okay, and so what I'm going to discuss right now is the way these two theories coincide with each other. The situation interloops with the symbolic interaction and expectancy violation theory because I had already established my self-concept by making it known that I am constantly losing items. They made me believe that I lost my keys. Christine and Melissa violated me by hiding my keys and forgetting that they hid the keys. They also violated Steven because he did not expect negative behavior from Christine and Melissa. Now, as for the critiquing part of this section, I do not believe that there is anything with these theories that need to be added because they cover how others and yourself interpret each other as a whole. The expectancy violation theory shows how we might react towards violators with differing situations. The theories were easy to apply to the scenario because with my self-concept being sure that I am always losing items, and for this in particular situation, I did not actually lose the item. However, Christina and Melissa made me believe that I lost the item. So by those means, if the keys had never showed up, I would have always had in my mind that I had lost the item. And that is my critique on the theory.